here's what I can guarantee. I'll be back. The next time I'm back, I may not be wearing a suit. The first time I came here, I was in jeans and a backpack. You know, one of the challenges of traveling and visiting Kenya is that you know, I'm much more constrained now than I will be. And I think that you can anticipate not only me being back, but probably more important for everybody, Michelle being back, and Malia and Sasha coming back.
Well, hackers have caused alarm by using a news organisation's Twitter account to claim the US president had been assassinated. Just hours before Barack Obama celebrated Independence Day with his family and military personnel at the White House, Fox News tweeted he'd been shot dead while campaigning in Iowa. The messages were removed 10 hours later. The Secret Service is investigating.
Is now with Obama dead, terrorism won't be so prevalent in the Arab world.
It's Barack Obama!
Tan horse, really?
That's right. It is I, Barack Obama, 44th President of the realm, defender of rational thought and the use of data to make informed...
Show us your birth certificate!
I'll be taking the numbers, man, with me.
Thanks, Obama. But where will we go?
To a place far away, where innovation and new ideas are welcome. The MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference.
First of all, giving honor to God and our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama.
And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven.
Be still and know that I am God, that I am God, that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations, I will be exalted in the earth.
And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. All that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
Tonight, for the first time, I am releasing my official birth video. Let's take a look. I will be exalted among the nations, I will be exalted in the earth.
And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. All that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
You will never see it coming.
Back in 2008, a largely unknown U.S. Senator named Barack Obama wrote a book called Dreams from My Father, and it was a bestseller. And in this book, there are some interesting similarities between Obama and the character T'Challa, who is the king of Wakanda in the new movie Black Panther, which has just been released by Marvel. There is a scene in the movie where he actually meets his father in a dream and turns around and hears the phrase, "It's time," which is exactly what Obama wrote in his book, Dreams from My Father. Let me read this excerpt. I heard the growl of a leopard. We know that panthers are part of the leopard family, and it's actually an interchangeable term. So this could say, I heard the growl of a panther. It goes on to say, a giant figure looming as tall as the trees. Think, Nephilim, Goliath, a giant wearing only a loincloth and a ghostly mask. The lifeless eyes bored into me, and I heard a thunderous voice saying, only that it was time. My entire body began to shake violently with the sound, as if I were breaking apart. Does that sound like a normal dream to you, and someone that would share that in a book so openly? It's crazy that this man became president and that the Americans voted for him twice. It shocks me. But nothing about this man shocks me anymore. He single-handedly turned this country literally upside down. He pushed for gay marriage, and it happened. Supreme Court ruling took place during his tenure. He won a Nobel Peace Prize before he was even in office, and then went on to start more wars than any president, and used drone strikes like they were video games, and killed innocent children just with no remorse. You've seen the numbers, the ratings, all of that. But when I saw it, my jaw hit the ground. So spoiler alert, just in case you haven't seen it or you care about these things, don't watch the rest of this video. But if you want to be amazed at how this is mirroring real life events and events to come, then keep watching. So T'Challa, I'm going to just plug in the name Obama instead. Black Panther is one and the same. A panther is part of the leopard family, and the symbology there is pretty accurate in regards to the ties with the son of perdition, Antichrist figure found in the book of Revelation in the Bible. So early on in the film, he's challenged a couple of times, and he wins, just like Obama was challenged in the initial election, 2008, and then 2012, and he won, and he became the king, quote unquote. And then eventually he is challenged by his long-lost cousin. And he is defeated and appears to be killed. So there is a major split in the withstanding government of Wakanda, the fictional country. And there is some loyalists that stick behind and sneak out important materials before they are found out as to being loyalist spies. And T'Challa / Obama uses this hidden power, like the FBI, deep state, CIA, that we are seeing just everywhere. He utilizes these leave-behinds, and he's able to challenge this usurper, his cousin, whose name is Killmonger. After Killmonger takes over, he partakes of the heart-shaped herb, which is what gives the leader of Wakanda and the Black Panther his supernatural strength. My take on this was, after he takes it and he has his, ancestral plane visit with his own father, he then decides to burn up the source of this supernatural connection. He burns all the herbs. He's destroying everything behind him so he can be the last Black Panther. And the way that this, obviously it shows the upside down paradigm here. It's showing you that it's all topsy-turvy, it's all flipped. T'Challa is painted as the good guy, Obama is painted as the good guy, and Killmonger the bad guy, Trump the bad guy.
It all began in the 1960s when Lord Oswell E. Spencer, Sir Edward Ashford, and James Marcus founded Umbrella based on their discovery of the progenitor virus. The progenitor virus was a virus found in a flower called the Stairway to the Sun. It was found in West Africa and was worshipped by a tribe of people known as the Nadi Paya, due to it being used as a way to choose those worthy of being their leader. You see, the legends state that those who survive eating the flower, thereby contracting the virus and obtaining superhuman strength and abilities, would be considered their leader. So, with the flower production locked down with laboratories built in Africa, and Spencer having his own fancy mansion that serves as a cover for his own laboratory up in the Arklay Mountains, Umbrella is officially in business, disguising their research into the progenitor virus with the front of being a legitimate pharmaceutical corporation that sells consumer products and cosmetics.
Our business is life itself.
Umbrella's ultimate goal was to completely change the face of war, and be the sole profiteers of its new form. They would develop bioorganic weaponry, or BOWs for short, utilizing hosts of the progenitor virus as superpowered mutated monsters. That was Umbrella's ultimate goal, but it wasn't Spencer's. Spencer wanted to create a new breed of humans, along with making himself immortal and rule over them like a god. Point is, Spencer's a crazy, power-hungry madman who's using Umbrella and the research it's conducting to fulfill his own power fantasy. And to that end, he sets up Edward Ashford to be accidentally infected by the progenitor virus, killing him, and then he sends Marcus away to be the director of Umbrella's executive training center so that Spencer is in a position to have full control over the corporation. All while this is going on, research is being done on improving the progenitor virus to make it more stable, eventually leading to the development of the T-virus. Thus came the beginning of the virus that's really at the core of the Resident Evil series.
It doesn't matter. It's all the same show. They're all cousins. They're all related. It's just a pageant that we're witnessing.
On February 2nd, 2020, Miami played host to Super Bowl LIV, or 45, and all the satanic rituals that are attached to it. However, in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, a state known as the Keystone State, which is a reference to Freemasonry, a different ritual was being held by a group of men wearing top hats called the Inner Circle. This was the ritual of Groundhog's Day.
And they are about to make a proclamation whether or not Phil is going to see his shadow. Will it be 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring?
The name Punxsutawney means land of the sandflies. A sandfly is a blood-sucking fly, and thereby represents a vampire since it drinks blood. We know that one name for Satan is Beelzebub, or Lord of the Flies. The name Phil comes from philia, which means to love or be loved. You will notice they start the crowd to chant the name Phil.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to wake Phil up. And to wake Phil up, we're going to do a chant. Phil, 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 Phil.
In essence, they are chanting words of love and adoration to Beelzebub. They also tap on the door of the cage 3 times with a cane.
We'll tap the cane, or with the cane, we're going to tap the doors 3 times. Gentlemen, get Phil out. Punxsutawney Phil!
Remember the ritual of knocking on the door, as we will come back to it later. The cane represents Tubal Cain in Freemasonry, and in Genesis chapter 4, verse 22, Tubal Cain is named as a descendant of Cain, the cursed bloodline and serpent seed. This inner circle go on to practice divination by using the groundhog to predict the early arrival of spring.
We got 2 scrolls here. One is winter, one is summer. What do you think, buddy? Huh?
The scriptures warn us about divination in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10, which declares, "There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch." Moreover, the arrival of spring marks the vernal equinox when the sun enters Aries. To practitioners of the occult, this represents the resurrection of Horus, the sun god, or the light of the world, from the underworld of the winter, from where he arose to join his goddess Estre, Ishtar, or Astarte, which is where the pagan celebration of Easter is derived. These spring goddesses connect to the Super Bowl halftime show and its 2 female performers, but we will discuss that later. The Super Bowl also contained a Jeep commercial featuring Bill Murray that used the theme of Groundhog Day as well. You will notice the name of the Jeep is Rubicon. A Rubicon is a boundary in which, once it has been crossed, commits a person to their action irrevocably. Crossing a Rubicon is the same as passing the point of no return. Spiritually speaking, accepting the mark of the beast would be an example of crossing a Rubicon, since that act would leave a person irredeemable and forever estranged from God, with no way to reverse their fortunes.
Everyone's going to have to chip in. That's only fair.
Hold my hand, ooh baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand, ooh baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. If you get sleep or if you get night, the cock's gonna call in the morning, baby. And check the cupboard for your daddy's gun. Red sun rises like an early warning. The Lord's gonna come for your firstborn son. His hair's on fire and his heart is burning. So go to the river where the water runs. Wash him deep where the tides are turning. And if you fall, and if you fall, hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. The wolves will chase you by the pale moonlight, drunk and driven by a devil's hunger. Drive your son like a railroad spine into the water, let it pull him under. But though you lift him, let him drown alive. The good Lord speaks like a rolling thunder. And let that fever make the water run. Let the river run dry. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down to the bottom of the river. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way, a long, long, long way. Hold my hand. Ooh, baby, it's a long way down, a long way down.
Do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman
we
president?
already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
No, Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my.
Michael and I also want to acknowledge your son Jack, who's deployed today.
Need souls, man. How many souls can you deliver to me today?
Deliver to you?
Take my hand. Walk in the valley of the darkness.
The Antichrist. Tens of millions of people are on the lookout for him and for signs of the end times.
When a person with this set of beliefs opens a newspaper, they are in a sense looking for the possibility that the Antichrist could appear there.
There are a lot of people who believe, yes, the Antichrist is alive and prepared now to take his place in the sequence of events leading up to the end of time as predicted in the book of Revelation.
Believers feel the end game has already begun.
The focus that the world has now on the rise of the Antichrist and the return of Christ, I believe the board is set and the pieces are about to move.
The Antichrist has topped most wanted lists for the last 2 millennia. Prophecy believers have never stopped hunting for this figure, Christ's evil opponent, Satan's human representative on earth during. He is both dreaded and, oddly enough, welcome.
Revelation chapter 14 verses 9 through 11 declares, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." The commercial which kicked off the Super Bowl was filled with symbolism. The commercial features Maxwell Bunchy Young, a 12-year-old football player from Los Angeles, California. Pay close attention to what I'm about to show you. Notice how the two major things that have happened to this kid so far were connected to the numbers 9 and 11. At the age of 9, Bunchy broke the 10-year-old world record for the 100-yard dash with a time of 12:4. This connects him with the number 9. When Bunchy turned 11, he was named Sports Illustrated Kids Sports Kid of the Year and received a scholarship from the University of Illinois to play football. The numbers 9 and 11 connect him to Revelation chapter 9 verse 11, the rise of the king of the bottomless pit. As we have been discussing in previous videos, this also connects back to Kanye West's Jesus is King album. Kanye's performances in jail, which symbolize the demonic spirits held prisoner in the bottomless pit in Revelation chapter 9, and Rodin Crater, which represented the key to the bottomless pit and the opening of that pit by the angel in Revelation chapter 9 verse 2 to release the demonic spirits held within. This is also connected to Jimmy Page's album Lucifer Rising, which represents the angel of the bottomless pit found in Revelation 9:11. Ultimately, the connection to 9/11 also connects Bunchy to Barack Obama reading Psalm 46, declaring himself to be God on 9/11.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
Super Bowl LIV was a giant spectacle used to mark the NFL's 100th season. 100 years, or a century, then connects back to the Saugus High School shooting, since their mascot is a centurion. This can also be linked to the Century 16 shooting at the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises, which depicts the rise of the king of the bottomless pit. What's even more interesting when we look at Bunchy's achievements is that he has already received a scholarship to play football at the University of Illinois. The University of Illinois points us to Barack Obama. At a speech at the university, Barack claimed, "You cannot sit back and wait for a savior." He went on to say, "We don't need a Messiah."
You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. We don't need a Messiah. Don't need a Messiah. Don't need a Messiah. Don't need a Messiah.
If that's not Antichrist, I don't know what is. Therefore, they are only using this kid to be a symbolic representation of Antichrist. Notice Bunchy is wearing the number 0 or the letter O as a symbol for Obama and the rising sun. This connects back to Keenan Lowe, the former Oregon Ducks football player and former assistant coach for the San Francisco 49ers, who stopped a mass shooting by giving the would-be shooter a hug. The logo for the Oregon Ducks is the O, a symbol for Obama. Now let's take a look at some of the things I noticed in Bunchy's commercial. But before we get into that, let me say this. In no way am I condemning this young man. I am only pointing out the symbolism that has been purposefully linked to him. I believe he is an innocent child, and he is being used unwittingly by adults for their own evil purposes. The first cameo in this commercial is given to Jim Brown. Jim Brown played for the Browns. Remember, we spoke about the Brown usurper in the previous video in reference to Bruno Mars's Super Bowl performance when he sang Locked Out of Heaven, representing the devil and his angels who have been cast out of heaven. It is important to note that although Jim Brown wore the number 32 while he played in the NFL, when he was in college, he wore the number 44. 44 connects him to Barack Obama. In the commercial, we are also shown a kid wearing the helmet of the Green Bay Packers. The letter G represents Gnosticism, and the G found at the center of the square and compass in Freemasonry. Bunchy is shown in Chicago next. Chicago points us to Obama once again. Their team logo is the Bears, which is a reference to the Antichrist, who has the feet of a bear, found in Revelation chapter 13, verse 2. You may remember Obama proclaimed the bear is loose while walking in Washington, D.C.
The bear is loose. The bear is loose. The bear is loose. Broke out of the cage.
Next, Bunchy runs through a construction site where the Chargers move impediments to his path. The symbol for the Chargers is a lightning bolt. The word for lightning in Hebrew is Barak, a reference to Barack Obama, and Luke 10:18, which declares, "And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven."
You'll never see it coming.
Did Jesus really reveal the name of the Antichrist? I will report the facts. You can decide. In Luke chapter 10, verse 18, Jesus said these words, "And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from the heavens." These words are written in Greek and translated to English. However, Jesus spoke these words originally in Aramaic, which is the most ancient form of Hebrew. As you know, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. If a modern Jewish rabbi were to speak these words of Jesus today, he would speak them in Hebrew, much the same way that Jesus would have spoken them. So in Hebrew, Jesus said that he saw Satan falling as lightning from the heights or from the heavens. So what are the words for lightning and heights or heavens in Hebrew? From the Strong's Hebrew Dictionary, word number 1299, a primitive root word meaning to lighten or lightning or to cast forth. The word is barak. In the Strong's Hebrew Dictionary, word number 1300, lightning, or by analogy a gleam, a flashing sword, or a brightness or a glittering, the Hebrew word is barak. So lightning, or a flash of light, in Hebrew is pronounced barak or barak. Now consider this amazing fact. The book of Isaiah is the source of origin for the Christian concept and understanding of Satan, or Lucifer, as Isaiah calls him, in chapter 14, especially in verses 12 through 19. In Isaiah chapter 14, verse 14, Lucifer, or Satan, is credited with these words, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." In the verses of Isaiah that refer directly to Lucifer, several times it is mentioned that Satan has fallen from the heights, or from the heavens. The Hebrew word used in this text for the heights from which Satan fell is Strong's Hebrew word 1116, pronounced Bama. Bama is most commonly used to refer to a high sacred place, as well as to the heights of the heavens or the clouds. In Hebrew, the letter Wa is often transliterated as a U. Some scholars use the O for this transliteration. It is primarily used as a conjunction to join concepts together. So to join in Hebrew poetry the concept of lightning, or barak, and a high place like heaven or the heights of heaven, the letter U, or sometimes O, the Hebrew letter Wa, would be used. So, barak o bama, or barak u bama, in Hebrew poetry, similar to the style written in Isaiah, would translate literally as lightning, and the heights, or the heavens, or lightning from the heights of the skies, or the heavens. The word Satan is Satan in Hebrew, a direct translation. So back to Jesus' prophecy in Luke chapter 10, verse 18. If spoken by a Jewish rabbi today, influenced by the poetry of Isaiah, he would say these words in Hebrew, the words of Jesus in Luke chapter 10, verse 18 as, "And I saw Satan as Barak Ubama." Did Jesus reveal to us the name of the Antichrist? I report, you decide.
We are then shown two players, one wearing a lightning helmet and the other a ram's helmet. This connects the name Barak with the horn god, the devil, and Satan. There is a scene where he runs through the San Francisco streets as well. San Francisco is a reference to Pope St. Francis, who is the false prophet and second beast. In another scene, Bunchy slides across the front of a car with Jerry Jones sitting inside of it. If you listen closely, you can hear Ave Maria playing in the background.
What up, Jerry?
This is a reference to the Catholic religion's veneration of Mary and baby Jesus, which is actually a representation of Isis and her son Horus, the sun god. You will remember Madonna, who is also a representation of the Virgin Whore, performed at Super Bowl XLVI in 2012, and during an interview she called the Super Bowl the Holy of Holies, a reference to the temple in Jerusalem where the presence of Yahweh dwelt.
I mean, the Super Bowl is kind of like the Holy of Holies in America, right? So, like, here I am. I'm gonna come into the halfway between like the church experience, and I'm gonna have to deliver a sermon.
During her performance, Madonna dressed like Baphomet and simulated giving birth to the Antichrist. This is also the same Super Bowl where the Giants' number 44, Ahmad Bradshaw, simulated being born on the field as well. The Madonna, or Isis, is also conflated with Ishtar and Astarte, goddesses of spring, which connects back to Punxsutawney Phil in Groundhog Day, predicting the early arrival of spring. Jerry Jones is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys connect back to Nipsey Hussle's friend, Cowboy, who was with him when Nipsey was killed. Remember, Jermaine Dupri claimed Nip was Jesus, which makes him into a representation of the false Messiah. Cowboy then represents the rider on the white horse found in Revelation chapter 6, verse 2, the Antichrist. Although the number 60 on Cowboy's jersey represents his gang, the Rolling 60s, in this instance, it symbolically represents the letters B.O. for Barack Obama. Here you see the one-eye symbolism. We saw Suge Knight display this same one-eye symbolism when he was with Tupac, who was also a rap artist that was killed and then depicted as a type of Messiah figure. Tupac had a song called Hail Mary, which is the alternate name for the song Ave Maria, being played in Jerry Jones's car. Nipsey Hussle's situation also connects to former NFL star O.J. Simpson, who also represented the rider of the white horse, the Antichrist. When being driven by AC, he led the Los Angeles Police Department on a slow speed chase in his white Bronco. It is important to remember that Obama gave his acceptance speech at Mile High Stadium with the white horse above his head. One of the prosecutors on the OJ case was Christopher Darden, who now represents the man accused of killing Nipsey Hussle, the false Messiah. The name Cowboy also connects to Lil Nas X's song Old Town Road and the four horses of the apocalypse found in Revelation chapter 6 verses 1 through 8. In the commercial, there's also a scene shot in New Orleans during a Mardi Gras parade. Mardi Gras, or Carnival, represents the festival of the flesh, when the mask will be removed from concealing the identity of the Antichrist. New Orleans also connects to the fleur-de-lis, the Merovingian bloodline, and the beast from the sea found in Revelation chapter 17. This beast from the sea was represented in the Super Bowl commercial featuring Jason Momoa, who plays the character Aquaman. Bungie also stops and takes a moment to look at the Pat Tillman statue. This, once again, attaches Bungie and this commercial to September 11th, since on September 11th, 2011, fans adorned the Pat Tillman statue with American flags in honor of the 10-year anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, following the season opener at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Arizona. As we mentioned previously, 9/11 is a reference to Revelation chapter 9 verse 11, the rise of the king of the bottomless pit, and Obama's declaration that he is God, which was made on September 11th.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
The University of Phoenix is also a reference to the phoenix bird rising from its own ashes. This is a depiction of Satan found in Isaiah chapter 14, verses 13 through 15. Finally, Bunchy ends up walking down the corridor to the Super Bowl, which is lined with Hall of Fame players. The word fame comes from blasphemy. Therefore, this hall is actually the Hall of Blasphemers. Virginia Hallis McCaskey, owner of the Chicago Bears, meets Bunchy at the end of the hall. Since Virginia is the owner of the Chicago Bears, once again, this points us right back to Obama, the Antichrist, the false Messiah and son of the Virgin, with feet like a bear. The name Virginia is a reference to the virgin whore Isis, Astarte, Ishtar, and ultimately the whore of Babylon herself, which connects to the symbolism used during the halftime show. During the halftime show, Shakira and J-Lo used the symbol for Venus. In classical mythology, Lucifer, which means light bringer in Latin, was the name of the planet Venus, though it was often personified as a male figure bearing a torch. This is a representation of Prometheus, whose statue can be observed in New York's Rockefeller Center. The Greek name for the planet Venus was Phosphorus, also meaning light bringer, or Heosphorus, meaning dawn bringer. This connects Venus with the description of Lucifer found in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. In the beginning of the Super Bowl, the players stood on the 24-yard line for a moment of silence in honor of Kobe Bryant. In the previous video, we discussed Kobe Bryant, who is also known as the Black Mamba, a reference to Satan and his connection to the beast system, 666, and one-eye symbolism. The number 24 is actually a reference to 2 4s, or number 44, Barack Obama. And since both teams were standing on the 24-yard line, 24 times 2 equals 48. 48 reversed is 8-4, Barack Obama's birthday. Venus is also a Roman goddess whose functions encompassed love, beauty, desire, sex, fertility, prosperity, victory, and prostitution.
She's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it. I'm your Venus. I'm your fire, your desire.
This connects her to Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and abominations of the earth. Interestingly enough, Super Bowl LIV was linked with a campaign about prostitution.
Look, right now it's some new ad campaign to raise awareness about sex trafficking, and it's held during Super Bowl week, which is so important.
Prostitution is rarely an aspiration or a choice.
Shakira was dressed in scarlet and purple as a symbolic representation of the mother of harlots found in Revelation chapter 17, verses 4 through 6. This also connects to the San Francisco 49ers, Pope St. Francis, the false prophet, or second beast, and the Catholic Church, which is also arrayed in scarlet and purple and gold. Shakira danced with a rope that was symbolic of a serpent with the flames of hell from the bottomless pit beneath her. The serpent is Satan. J-Lo wore the symbol of Medusa's head on her belt. Also, the little girl dressed in white had the Medusa head on her shirt as well. In Greek mythology, Medusa was a monster, a gorgon, generally described as a winged human female with living, venomous snakes in place of hair. Those who gazed upon her face would turn to stone. Interestingly enough, Uma Thurman once played Medusa. Thurman also starred in Kill Bill, which included a scene about the Black Mamba and connected it with one-eyed symbolism. She is also dressed in the black and yellow style sweatsuit made famous by Bruce Lee, who was also known as the Dragon. The Dragon fought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who, like Kobe Bryant, played for the Los Angeles Lakers. In the movie Kill Bill, we are told by a woman with one eye that the Black Mamba's name is Death Incarnate.
But only with the Mamba, and this has been true in Africa since the dawn of time, is death sure. Hence its handle, Death Incarnate.
It is the same question that our nation is asking.
It means this is a whole new world. I think that I've been saying this before. You can divide history in BB, before Barack, AB, after Barack.
This election has never been about me.
Peggy Joseph took her daughter out of school early Wednesday for this. Her emotions ran high following Obama's speech.
It was the most memorable time of my life. It was a touching moment because I never thought this day would ever happen. I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. You know, if I help him, he's going to help me.
Well, some parents of elementary school students in Burlington, New Jersey are outraged to see video of their children singing a Christian spiritual song with the name of Jesus was substituted with President Obama's.
I mean, in a way, Obama's standing above the country, above the world. He's sort of God.
So I take these herbs when I reached up with Obama.
Oh, it's such a blessing to see you, Mr. President. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Oh, gracious God, thank you so much.
Where we once were, we are no longer a Christian nation. We are no longer a Christian nation. We are no longer a Christian nation.
I tremble for America.
Know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But continue in the Holy Scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation through faith in Christ Jesus.
Just this week, Michelle Bachmann actually predicted that I would bring about the biblical end of days. Now that's a legacy.
On January 18th, 2018 declared Barack Obama will be returning to politics this year to take on Donald Trump. Again, we see the connection to 18 or 666. As you know, I myself believe that Obama will eventually be revealed to the world as Antichrist. Interestingly enough, the trailer for the movie Black Panther aired during this year's Super Bowl. Remember Beyonce's Super Bowl performance, which honored the Black Panthers, when the Carolina Panthers, led by Cam Newton, a reference to the founder of the Black Panthers, Huey P. Newton, lost to number 18, the rider on the white horse? Also remember Beyonce's husband, Jay-Z's reference to Huey P. Newton in his video, The Story of O.J. The Black Panther is most definitely being stressed to us as being significant as it pertains to end-time prophecy. The movie Black Panther is scheduled to be released February 16th or 2/16. The number 216 is connected to 666 because 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. This is a reference to the identity of the number of the beast found in Revelation 13:18, which can be expressed as 6 cubed. Interestingly enough, the day Barack Obama was born, August 4th, is actually the 216th day of the year.
Based on that fact, what's so special? What I'm trying to say here, you might have heard this message many times from the world, all over, again and again, from the Christians' perspective. They were saying that this is a mark of the beast, simple. 666, which is 666, that means mark of the beast, as Bible says in the Revelation. We will go a little deeper in that extra. Guess what? I'm going to tell you the same thing. Yes, it is the mark of the beast. But in this time, I'm going to give you a little further information, with the depth information, why it is the mark of the beast. Something different. We understand the microchip has been released, and as soon as it's released in US and become really famous and everyone talking about it, yes, of course. The thing is, as soon as I heard this message, I started to do some research in a sense, where this microchip coming from and who produced it, who manufactured it. And I come to understanding that was manufactured by the company called Biohacks. And we will come to that a little deeper later too. But when you go to that company website, and it's called Biohacks International. It's a company. It's based in Sweden. Okay, and including the logo means something. They, out of nowhere, they have named this microchip, the NFC tag, N-tag 216. What that to do with this? What I'm trying to say? Simply, let's cut it quicker. 216. Think about it. 6 times 6, 36. 36 times 6, 216. Oh, coincident, eh? Do you think that's coincident? No. As a mark of the beast, they're trying to tell us, hey, this is the mark of the beast. Revelation 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for the number is that of a man, and his number is 666. There's a few things I like to point out here. That first, the first company, the US-based company, the name itself, many people can say it's coincidence, but think about it. The first company tag, it's called Wisconsin. Wiz, if I break it into three things, wisdom, con, also that's another meaning I like to tell you, and sin. Of course, sin, Wisconsin. And also, before I go to the detailized information, whoever produced this, they're also the manufacturer of these products is called Foxconn. Why these people are trying to bring that con, C-O-N information? Let me tell you also another thing. Why this bio, out of nowhere, the bio word came out also. Also, it's American Standard Text, which just can be converted into a computer language. We also call hex mode. And I want to go deep into that. But when you convert this word, C-O-N, okay, you can do it by yourself later. And convert this, you can see the hex mode is 63, 6F, 6C, which is 666. It's not a coincidence again. And let's say I'm going to put a word bio, B-I-O. Simple, right? Convert that to hex mode. 62, 69, 6F, which is 666. Is it coincidence? I don't think so. So bio, con, everything that in a hex conversion says 666. And here, they publicly, they're challenging, they're telling you people that this biochip's called NTAC 216, which is 666. What else do you want to know? What else you want me to prove to you? It's in your face, it's in front of you. Simply, they're mocking you people. They're mocking, they know what's about to come. Christians are crying out loud, they're saying, hey, this is the mark of the beast. Still people don't want to believe it, and many people will take it as a joke. Think about it, people. This is not a joke. They specifically chose the name TAG 216, NTAG 216. They could have come up with some other random names. Why in this world he came with this number 216? And Biohacks, the company name itself, obviously 666, Bio, as Con, 666. All this leads into one path, which is a path to hell, which is 666.
People. Okay, we're at Walmart and we're looking at the new Solo Health station. What's really unique about it is look at the scanner.
Show them that it's at your knee level.
Knee level.
For hand.
For your hand, where you can swipe your hand with the RFID chip.
This connects Obama with the number 666 and the Black Panther. Revelation 13:2 describes the Antichrist as a leopard when it declares, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority." It is important to mention that a Black Panther is nothing more than a leopard with black pigment or melanistic color. In all of these things, we see a reference to the rise of Antichrist.
You've seen it and made it down to life.
The world is changing. Soon there will only be the conquered and the conquerors.
Step into the spotlight.
You are a good man.
Step into the spotlight.
With a good heart. And it's hard for a good man to be a king.
The Black Panther, who made his big screen debut in the recent Captain America Civil War movie, will now be receiving his very own feature film. It comes out next year, February the 16th of 2018, and I'm not even going to bother trying to break down much symbolism in this video. I'm not going to show screenshots. I simply want to show some information as to what I believe is being shown here. It is all about the fifth age, the golden dawn of Lucifer, or the golden age as many of the Luciferians are waiting for. And even in this poster alone, you could see the gold all behind this guy. You can see even the star of Ishtar, the eight-pointed star of new beginning of the new age, the fifth age that is going to dawn upon this earth. It is all about the final age, the final kingdom, where the return of the fallen angels and their offspring, the Nephilim, will be ruling this earth once again, just as it was before the flood. Is exactly what the devil wants. He wants his kingdom restored. Even the letters of the Black Panther, you can see the gold silhouette behind it. Again, you can see the gold all behind the Black Panther, and of course the two horns, always symbolizing this Baphomet kind of symbolism. And I think, again, this is all about the golden age that is coming. However, they want you to think something else. So according to IMDb, it says T'Challa, the new ruler of the advanced kingdom of Wakanda, must defend his land from being torn apart by enemies from outside and inside the country. So basically it's about this new ruler. He has powers and he has to defend his country. But really, I think there is more than meets the eye to what we are being shown here. Alright, so as we look at some information, now this place, Wakanda, is a fictional nation appearing in these comic books by Marvel, and is the home to this superhero, the Black Panther. But what I find quite interesting about this Wakanda is quite telling, I would say, in my opinion, because it is a very advanced civilization. You can see just by the architecture in this particular picture, as well as what you saw in the trailer, that it is very futuristic. It is very technologically advanced. You've even got these flying craft that, again, are very, very super advanced. To me, this is reminiscent of most likely the technology that was around before the flood, and possibly what was used to build the mega structures that are throughout the earth, like the pyramids, stuff like the Mayans and the Aztecs and all these kinds of things. All of the fallen angel technology, I believe, is what we are being shown here. So this is, to me, taking us right back to the very first golden age, I would say, of the fallen angels, of the Nephilim, the kingdom that they were trying to build many millennia ago, which Abba Yahweh had to destroy because they were corrupting mankind. Even in ancient hieroglyphics, this is something I believe from Egypt. We can see pictures that look like spacecraft, or I shouldn't say, there's no such thing as space, obviously, for those who believe in the true cosmology, but these very interesting aircraft that are right there depicted in these ancient hieroglyphic Egyptian drawings that have been found. And so it's quite interesting that possibly they were denoting this special craft that these beings flew in. Even this was shown in the movie Stargate. You know, this goes way back to the 90s with James Spader. And of course, they found all kinds of technology that took them through a portal, and they ended up in a different, of course, they want to make you think that they went to a different planet, but it really, to me, was possibly a spiritual dimension, or possibly Hades, whatever you want to call it. I believe they showed a lot of different kinds of technology in this movie. Again, what these different creatures or these fallen angels can do. They have some crazy technology, and it's interesting how they use the pyramids as their ships and all that kind of thing. So we are being shown a lot of similarities as to what I believe was going on before the flood, possibly afterwards as well. Something else that really caught my attention, and this goes along with this golden age that is coming, was the person that was being questioned by the CIA in that scene with the chairs, and the Black Panther was behind the glass window. He made mention of this El Dorado, which many believe is in South America, but he was saying that it happens to be actually in Africa. And now this El Dorado just so happens to be Spanish for the golden one, or El Hombre Dorado, which is the golden man. So we constantly keep seeing the same theme of gold in many movies, in and much symbolism in even in music videos, TV shows. We see this a lot, this golden, or this gold imagery, or I believe possibly the golden age that is coming. Lucifer wants very much to restore the kingdom that he had back before the flood. And even if you look at this tribal ceremony for this El Dorado, it says here, Now this was written in 1638. The ceremony took place on the appointment of a new ruler. Before taking office, he spent some time secluded in a cave without women, forbidden to eat salt or to go out during daylight. The first journey he had to make was to go to the great lagoon of Guatavita to make offerings and sacrifices to the demon which they worshipped as their god and lord. During the ceremony, which took place at the lagoon, they made a raft of rushes, embellishing and decorating it with the most attractive things they had. They put on it 4 lighted braziers in which they burned much amok, I think is what that says, which is the incense of these natives, and also resin and many other perfumes. The lagoon was large and deep, so that a ship with high sides could sail on it, all loaded with an infinity of men and women dressed in fine plumes, golden plaques, and crowns. As soon as those on the raft began to burn incense, they also lit braziers on the shore so that the smoke hid the light of day. At this time they stripped the heir to his skin and anointed him with a sticky earth on which they placed gold dust. So again, there's this gold, just like here they're wearing golden plaques and crowns, so they placed gold dust so that he was completely covered with this metal. They placed him on the raft, and at his feet they placed a great heap of gold, again, go figure, more gold, and emeralds for him to offer to his god, which is the demon basically. In the raft with him went 4 principal subject chiefs, decked in plumes, crowns, bracelets, pendants, and earrings of all gold. There you go, yet again more gold. They too were naked, and each one carried his offering. When the raft reached the center of the lagoon, they raised a banner as a signal for silence. The gilded Indian then threw out all the pile of gold into the middle of the lake, and the chiefs who had accompanied him did the same on their own accounts. After this, they lowered the flag, which had remained up during the whole time of offering, and as the raft moved toward the shore, the shouting began again with pipes, flutes, and large teams of singers and dancers. With this ceremony, the new ruler was received and was recognized as Lord and King. This is the ceremony that became the famous El Dorado, which has taken so many lives and fortunes. So to me, this sounds like the coming of the false Messiah, this ceremony to usher in the new ruler. They had to offer gold. He was even decked out in gold. Everybody was wearing gold. So really, to me, this is just really showing, again, the golden age of Lucifer. That is coming very, very soon. And I will leave these links so you can read up on this yourself. I believe we are being shown very blatantly about this golden age, that it's all about the return of the Nephilim, the fallen angels, exactly as Isaiah 13:3 talks about. And we've seen this theme of gold many times. You'll remember a children's movie back not that long ago. This was Madagascar Part 2. You'll remember, if you've seen this movie, they were out of water and they went and dug in the area where all the animals were staying on this reserve somewhere in Kenya, I believe it was, or possibly some other place in Africa. But as they dug, all they could find were diamonds and gold. So it makes you wonder whether this is a reference to the same thing that this Black Panther movie is talking about. Again, a reference to the golden age possibly. Then you'll remember commercials like this alien perfume commercial. Great channels like Round Saturn's Eye has really covered and decoded a lot of the symbolism and subliminal messages in this particular advertisement for this cologne, which again is showing the golden age. A lot of gold symbolism is being shown in this particular commercial. Again, you'll see Charlize Theron also going on about this gold. You'll remember a commercial by J'adore, Christian Dior perfume, and of course many know that Charlize Theron is very high up in the secret societies, part of the Illuminati, part of the Luciferian establishment. And I will play her commercial, which you've probably seen already, later on in this video, which I think ties in together nicely with this. Of course, in the new Power Rangers movie, one of the main enemies is called Goldar. Those of you who have been watching the show and know more about that particular franchise know about this character. I did a video maybe some time back about this new Power Rangers movie, but yet again, just like we saw in the El Dorado ritual of him being covered in gold, go figure that this guy who happens to have wings and horns like Baphomet is just just so happens to be covered all over in gold, just like how they covered this false Messiah figure in the El Dorado ritual in gold dust. Who can forget National Treasure 2 with Nicolas Cage? And what were they looking for in this particular movie? They were looking for a place called Cibola, which is the city of gold. Now, I actually couldn't find a good picture on Google of that scene when he gets there with his family to this city of gold, which just so happened to be under, I can't remember what the name of that mountain is with the different faces of the presidents carved into the mountain. But anyways, this city of gold just so happened to be in America at that for this particular movie. But anyways, again, this theme of gold that is being shown, again, you know, even with the pyramidal symbol, all that kind of thing, I believe again we are being shown the golden age of Lucifer, that the elites are just so itching to make happen. They want to please their master, who is Satan himself. He wants his golden age kingdom restored, and that is what is going to be ruling this world once the bride of Yeshua is taken. And even in the movie Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, we saw again when they finally got to the place where they had all these basically alien beings there. I believe this is totally Nephilim beings here. They showed all of these 13 being, go figure 13, sitting on pyramids of gold, all in this particular chamber room. So here we are again showing this gold, showing this theme of the golden age that is coming very soon. And you know, another reason why I brought up this Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I believe it has to do with the Nephilim, these elongated skulls, stuff that people like Eli Marzulli and others have spoken about before. I find it quite interesting that one of Black Panther's compatriots or fellow fighters, this woman just so happens to be having a skull that looks fairly big, in my opinion. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of her or anything. If she just happens to have a large head, then so be it. But it's just kind of interesting how his head doesn't seem to be nearly as elongated, or his skull doesn't seem to be nearly as elongated as this particular woman is. So is it the fact that she is possibly a Nephilim? It's interesting that even going back to the ancient Egyptian monarchies, it is possible that quite a number of them were actually Nephilim. We had, there's many depictions of them with elongated heads or elongated skulls. So it makes you wonder if whether that is the same thing being pictured here with this particular character, if she possibly is being shown to have an elongated skull, possibly a Nephilim being. And, you know, to make it more interesting, when we look at Wakanda and what is going on there, I found this quite interesting. When you look at the history, according to the comic, the Wakandan royal family began with Bashenga, an ancient Wakandan whose first and only appearance was in Black Panther Volume 1. Bashenga was supposedly the first king of unified Wakanda and the first Black Panther some 10,000 years ago. So to me, that time period is possibly reminiscent of the time before the flood, which is when the fallen angels and the Nephilim were doing their business. So in the distant past, a massive meteorite made up of sound-absorbing mineral vibranium crashed in Wakanda and is unearthed a generation before the events of the present day. T'Challa, a current Black Panther, is the son of T'Chaka, the Black Panther before him, and a descendant of Bashenga. So in current times, this T'Challa is a direct descendant of this Bashenga, who in my opinion is most likely a fallen angel or Nephilim being. Knowing that others would attempt to manipulate and dominate Wakanda for this rare and valuable resource, T'Chaka conceals his country from the outside world. He sells off minute amounts of the valuable vibranium while surreptitiously sending the country's best scholars to study abroad, consequently turning Wakanda into one of the world's most technologically advanced nations. So here they're trying to show that the people went out and studied in order to make it into such an advanced nation, but really I believe it is the technology of the fallen angels and the Nephilim that makes Wakanda a very, very technologically advanced society. But here's what I found very interesting, and it's all about this Black Panther cult. So Wakanda contains a number of religious cults devoted to Heliopolitan deities who left ancient Egypt at the time of the pharaoh. So we know that Helios is basically sun god worship. We know that Egypt worships Ra, Amun-Ra, the sun god. All the same kind of thing is going on here. So Bast, the panther goddess based on Bastet, the ancient Egyptian deity, is the primary deity of Wakanda. So basically mother goddess worship. After the Vibranian meteor fell, a number of Wakandans were painfully mutated into demon spirits and began attacking their fellow Wakandans. So, sounds a lot like what was going on in Genesis 6, how the fallen angels were messing with humanity, how humanity's thoughts were just evil, and so how here we have these Wakandans being turned into demon spirits. Sounds like they are being manipulated, their DNA is being manipulated, the very same account in Genesis 6. So T'Challa's ancestor, Bashenga, became the first Black Panther, so basically he morphed into this, or he became this other creature, and closed the Vibranium Mount to outsiders, forming a religious order, interesting, religious order like the Illuminati, like the mystery religions, that guarded the mound and fought to keep the demon spirits from spreading across the kingdom. The Black Panther is a ceremonial and religious title given to the chief of the Panther tribe. So basically the Black Panther is the chief. It's like he's the high priest. He is the leader of the religion, of the tribe, of this whole ceremonial kind of thing. As part of the cult's ceremonies, a chosen Black Panther is entitled to the use of a heart-shaped herb. The herb enhances the physical attributes of the person who consumes it to near superhuman levels, similar to the super soldier serum. So just like we saw in the trailer and what you even saw in Captain America Civil War, the Black Panther has many incredible abilities, how he's able to leap and jump and has superhuman strength. His suit is of course made by this very rare vibranium, which is something that we would think is fictitious, but possibly the secret societies know all about this stuff. But the main point here is that this Black Panther has his physical attributes are altered. So yet again, just like what we saw even in the trailer for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they are also people that have been manipulated. Their physical attributes have been altered. They have been changed to near superhuman abilities that they have. So the same kind of thing we are seeing here with this Black Panther, that he has all kinds of abilities, things that normal human beings are just not able to do. And this is what I believe will be the golden age of Lucifer, where these beings are back on the scene again. Isaiah 13:3 has prophesied this, which we have mentioned many times in previous videos, that the giants are coming to fulfill the wrath of Yahweh, that the return of the Nephilim, the return of the fallen angels, along with the dragon, Satan himself, will be ruling this world. And that is what the golden age is going to be about. The time before the flood is going to be restored, and Satan is going to be ruling with his super crazy beings. And who can forget Smaug from the Hobbit series of movies, and of course yet again this theme of gold. You'll remember that he was obsessed with gold. He lived in a castle that was full of gold coins, and he guarded it with a vengeance. And of course he is a dragon. So talk about the dragon Lucifer that is about to be thrown out of the second heaven. He is going to come in great wrath. He and his fallen angels are going to be thrown out of the second heaven and come to the earth, and they are going to have their final time here on this world in the time of the tribulation. So this is what I believe is coming. It is also a counterfeit of the real golden city, which is the city of Yahweh, the New Jerusalem. We see this right in Revelation chapter 21, where it talks about the New Jerusalem. You'll see this for yourself if you read it. It talks about the walls and the gates, and how even the precious stones that make up the foundation. But right at the end in verse 21, it says, "And the street was pure gold, like transparent glass." Of course, the the devil just wants to counterfeit Yahweh's plan, Yahweh's design, Yahweh's amazing New Jerusalem that he has for his people. But the real golden age will never be Lucifer's. It will belong to Yeshua HaMashiach, the king that Abba Yahweh has installed in Zion, and he is going to rule this world. Nobody else will do that. Just another reference to this Black Panther, I also found it quite interesting. This performance that Beyonce gave last year, 2016, I believe, at the Super Bowl. Of course, she was dressed like this Black Panther or BLM cult that was going on back then. I'm not sure whether it's still around, but of course, she's wearing the black and the gold, very similar to this Black Panther symbolism that we see even in this movie. But again, the golden age, look at the golden microphone. We know that even her hair is gold. We know that Beyonce, just like Charlize Theron that we mentioned earlier, is totally part of the secret societies, the Illuminati. They are all waiting for their golden age, but they are being used. They are pawns. They really don't have any idea of what they are doing. Another reference I found interesting was these scenes showing the red and the blue. Yet again, the mixing of the two pillars to open the third eye to make the purple. And I also found it interesting that these epic battle scenes, they talk about the conquered and the conqueror, showing that the world is going to be ruled by the conquerors. So yet again, much to be compared to what was going on back in Genesis 6, the advent of the fallen angels and what they were doing, mixing with mankind and basically ruling this world, conquering this world for Satan and trying to build their own kingdom. But the same thing, I believe, is being shown in this movie as well.
So T'Challa, Obama, he returns and he makes a triumphant unveiling victory. He shows his face. He shows up in his armor and, hey, I'm alive. Guess what? You thought I was dead? I'm still here. He then challenges the guy to a fight. There's a big war, and the factions all fight. The nation is fighting within itself like a civil war. And obviously T'Challa wins. He becomes king again. And then in the post-credits scenes, we see him going before the UN, revealing that it is a real nation, Wakanda, and that they will be showcasing their technology and advancements with the world. The UN, all the countries kind of mock at this. They don't think it's a big deal. And then at the very end, in the second end credit scene, he uncloaks his ship, which is like a UFO. It's even shaped like a UFO disc. And there are some children playing basketball. They see it and they wonder, oh my gosh, it's a UFO. And then they come and approach him and they say, is this yours? Is this yours? Can we, they're in awe. It's a lying sign and wonder. And they also have the ability to heal people, and they can bring people back to life. All kinds of crazy technology. It appears to be magic, but it is all technologically based. They're going to use this advanced super tech that will look like magic, and they will fool the world into thinking they are gods, and that you can become like them by accepting technology into your body, which is all over this film. They put technology in people's bodies in this movie, just like the Mark of the Beast. So it's all here. It's crazy that this movie came out now, and that we're here. So get ready. Some UFOs are going to show up, and the Pope and Obama are going to be the chosen ambassadors to coordinate with these people and to initiate this one world government. But it's going to take a lot of earth-shattering events to crack the egg, so to speak, of the human collective consciousness to be willing to accept such a cultural shift.
In 1989,
Our first guest went on a fateful date with a charming Muslim immigrant from Kenya, and had no idea that it would lead to her one day being First Lady of the United States. You can read all about her history-making life in this new memoir called Becoming. Please say hello to Michelle Obama. You see how, like, do you remember the first Superman movie, Christopher Reeve?
Yeah.
When he gave up his powers to save Lois Lane's life, and then he was powerless, and then he got beat up in a diner, and then he had to get his powers back to come save us from Lex Luthor? That's what we need from you and your husband.
Well, there's this thing called the Constitution.
Oh, we've dispensed with that already, haven't we?
You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. We don't need a Messiah. And our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama. How hard can that be? Saying that Nazis are bad.
We are still confused, blind, shrouded with hate, anger, racism, mommy issues.
We want to thank you once again from the bottom of our hearts for giving us the incredible privilege of serving this country that we love. We also want to tell you a little bit about what we'll be up to next.
First, we're going to take a little break. We're finally going to get some sleep and take some time to be with our family and just be still for a little bit.
Up in a diner, and then he had to get his powers back to come save us from Lex Luthor. That's what we need from you and your husband.
I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven, lightning fall from heaven. Lightning fall from heaven. Worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom. But a king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king. One day, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. You cannot sit back and wait for a savior. You don't need a Messiah.
And then he had to get his powers back to come save us from Lex Luthor. That's what we need from you and your husband.
The work of perfecting our unions never finished, and we look forward to joining you in that effort as fellow citizens. Thank you, and we will see all of you again soon. Bye-bye.